All right. Good morning, guys. I just thought it would be too embarrassing, because he was going on and on. So I figured. Thank you, though. Kiran, wherever you are, where is he? Firstly, I should congratulate Kiran for pulling off the impossible. See, for someone to actually do the August Fest on 3rd of September, I think that in itself is a miracle. So, congratulations, Kiran. The 4th edition, it's just getting bigger and better. As Adi was talking a few minutes ago, I think the entire team, wherever Subhash and Shravya are, where are they? They're running around somewhere. So Kiran, Adi, Subhash, Shravya, and to the rest of the team of August Fest for organizing this wonderful event. And to all the youngsters here, a wonderful welcome to Hyderabad. For those of you who are from out of town. And Funny, wherever you are, thank you for coming back to Hyderabad. See, this guy, he's from Nizamabad, goes to Bangalore, and then of all the things he has to do, he has to found Red Bus, obviously make a lot of money, but also give a lot of employment to Bangalore. I think that's unfair. I think a guy from Nizamabad who was raised here, who has actually gone to school here, should do a lot more than what you're doing, Funny. So I think I'm going to put you in a spot and ask you to invest significant amount of money in Hyderabad. Thank you very much for also nodding. So guys, I won't take up much time. I'll only take 2 minutes. The last 2 years, in fact, I've every single occasion I've gotten, everywhere I've been to, I kept calling our state a startup state. There's a reason why we actually say that. Our state, as you all know, was created about 2 years ago. And when you start off as a new state, you're not burdened by legacy. So you actually have the agility of a startup, the bent of mind of a startup in terms of formulating new policies and trying to pick up from the best practices across the world. You have the ability to absorb and to learn from the best in the business. So as a startup state, when we wanted to give a little bit of a push to innovation, myself and Jayesh Ranjan, our IT secretary, who's also here, and who's been a constant supporter to the August Fest and also to the rest of the startup community in Hyderabad. In fact, we went around, we tried to emulate the best. And when we started building on the story of startups, then we met a lot of youngsters who've basically been looking for a platform. We created the country's largest technology incubator called the T-Hub in Hyderabad. Now T-Hub has done well in the last 1 year, but we have to do a lot more. I think T-Hub alone or government alone can only do so much. So what we've tried to do is, we've come out with an innovation policy which basically promotes, which basically also supports a lot of private incubators, a lot of startups. In fact, we also have come out with a rural technology policy. I know Funny is actually Funny, and also Raju Reddy of Hitachi are also working on something even more eventful and something even more wonderful. They're actually working on a rural incubator called the Kakatiya Sandbox, based out of Nizamabad, to give scope to a lot of youngsters from Nizamabad and other rural districts also. So it's not just a story about T-Hub or one incubator or one state. I think it has to be about building an ecosystem. In fact, one of the stories I keep telling a lot of people in Funny's absence also, which I'd like to narrate here. So last time we meet Funny in Bangalore, myself and Jayesh. So I request Funny to come to Hyderabad, spend some time with our startups. He told me that he's taking a sabbatical, and he also told me that he's investing in a lot of startups. So while we were there, we actually had a Hyderabad startup reach out to Funny, saying, "Sir, I'd like to meet you. I'd like to make a pitch, and if you can invest, obviously I'll be happy." So Funny, in front of us, in fact, he was actually on a call. He said, "Yeah, I'm coming to Hyderabad in about a couple of weeks, so I'll meet you then." And then, the very same day, he receives an email from somebody in Bangalore. And Since Funny actually lives in Bangalore, he called this Bangalore guy who actually sent an email a couple of hours later after the Hyderabadi guy. He meets him the very next day. He also invests right there. The point I'm trying to make is, in today's world, we believe that we live in a virtual world where physical distances don't matter, locations don't matter, and where you reside does not matter. But unfortunately, in some cases it does. When you are a startup looking for an investment, for you to reach out to a VC, for you to reach out to an investor, potential investor, an angel investor, is extremely important. And to ensure that this ecosystem gets built in Hyderabad, we're actually kicking off a fund called the T Fund on the 5th of November this year, where the government is also investing significant amount of money. Basically to give a healthy dose of infusion of capital into early stage companies. The second thing we are also extremely excited about doing is launching T-Hub's outpost in the valley in October itself, this year, which will create a feeder for all the Indian startups based out of T-Hub to go to the Sandhill Road, make your presence felt, make a pitch, and if your product has a lot of merit, I'm sure you will attract valuations like WhatsApp or LinkedIn or whatever we've seen in the last 1 year. The third thing we are also extremely excited about doing is, we all believe and we all know, if you look at the innovation nodes and centers across the world, most of them in the world today are centered around university networks in the United States or US or elsewhere. Research obviously has a lot to do with innovation. Research is the mother of innovation, if you ask me. So therefore, we're in fact promoting a new concept also in Telangana called RICH, the Research and Innovation Circle of Hyderabad. We're trying to ensure that most of the research institutions within Hyderabad also start working on commercialized research, also start looking at possibilities of disruption in variety of spaces. We have more than 30 public sector institutions in Hyderabad, the CCMB, the IICT, I can go on and on, the list is huge and unending. We're trying to ensure that they actually start working on what is required in the market, and the research that happens in these institutions is also commercialized and also able to produce more and more employment and more entrepreneurs from our own city and from our own state. So all in all, I'd like to congratulate August Fest for making it bigger and better every year. This is a wonderful platform for all of you for making a pitch this evening. And for those of you from out of town, just a good opportunity to meet and talk with the best in the industry. So all of our best wishes, our support is with you constantly, and I hope for sure that in days to come, in years to come, Telangana will not only be known as a startup state, but also will start scaling up into a wonderful and a happening innovation center in India. Thank you very much.